aside. It does not prevent genocide. It does not prevent mass murder. It can be Biafra or Cambodia or Rwanda or Sudan.
We do not have a date set aside to commemorate what happened in 1967.
I think there's no need for that because you'll be reopening old wounds.
It's not the duty of people who are not involved to deny the pain of people who are involved. In Nigeria, there's this big embargo of Biafra. You must never talk about Biafra. We have to move on. You have to forget. You have to just move on. Forget about it. But it's not the duty of people who are not there to forget. If the people who suffered want to forgive and forget, their jobs. Has anybody read his autobiography? Yeah, he stopped going to church because he read about the Biafra War. He said, if Christians do that to people, why should I worship that God? I don't agree with him, but that's his view. He felt so bad about the war. Bernard Kouchner, former French foreign minister, remember him in Kosovo, digging every last bone to understand what happened in Kosovo. But where did he start? He started in Biafra. He was there as a Red Cross volunteer. He resigned from the Red Cross. He said, we can't be impartial in such a situation. He founded Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, because of the Biafra situation. And that's what Biafra did to him. John Lennon returned his MBE to the Queen because of the Biafra War.
As a protest against violence and war, especially Britain's involvement in Biafra, which most of the British public is unaware, slant all the news from Biafra, all the stuff I learned Biafra from journalists off the cuff folks is a different story, and I began to be ashamed of being British, and I'm a patriotic nationalist, if the truth were out, and Yoko can vouch for that. I'm always fighting about what Britain invented, radar, and what all the different things we've done. But every day I just began to worry a bit more about it, and I was going to send the MBE back anyway. I could have done it privately, but the press would have found out anyway. You would have been here a week later instead, less impact.
Jimi Hendrix was playing concerts to raise money for the children in Biafra. He was raising money to feed people like me. I would have died if those flights hadn't come in. 3,170 flights in 3 years that came in with all the food we wanted because there was no way to feed Biafra. And of course, part of the war strategy, he had all the CBE, MBE, everything, right up to the knighthood. He returned all of that to the Queen because of the war.
If you came away from some of the earlier tragedies of the Biafran War and some of the wars in Africa and the AIDS things I photographed, there wasn't enough darkness.
The next piece is also by Alex Baranowski. It's called Biafra, and this was actually written for a documentary which just came out at the beginning of this year. The documentary is called McCullen, and it's about the very famous war photographer Don McCullen, who traveled around the world over the last 30, 40 years, taking the most extraordinary photographs, mostly of war-torn areas. And Biafra was a former province in Nigeria where they had a most horrendous, and there was a particular colony, children's colony, which had been abandoned, and thousands of children were left there to die. And Don McCullen arrived at this place in Biafra to find all these children there. And the children thought that he had come to save them. But the truth was he was there as a photographer. He'd come to take photos.
You know, I'd walk into a school in Biafra and I would see 800 children dying. And as soon as they saw the white man coming, you could see they thought there was some hope at the end of the tunnel. And what did I bring them? I brought them 2 Nikon cameras around my neck. And I saw these children dropping down and dying in front of me. And you know, we live in a world now where the media isn't that particularly interested in the our lives.
You feel that?
I'm convinced it is.
And it was something that he just never really got over, never really recovered from. And Alex wrote this particular piece based on that, and it's in the film, which is the most extraordinary documentary. I would urge any of you to go and see it. It's just out, and it has picked up 2 BAFTA nominations, in fact, just recently. So this is Biafra by Alex Baranowski.
since World War II, there has not been another tragedy that resembles the scope of the Holocaust in any way, but there are many cases in which the world stands on the side and does not prevent genocide and does not prevent mass murder. It can be Biafra or Cambodia or Rwanda or Sudan.
We do not have a date set aside to commemorate what happened in 1967.
I think there's no need for that because you'll be reopening old wounds.
It's not the duty of people who are not involved, many people who are involved. In Nigeria, there's this big embargo about Biafra. You must never talk about Biafra. We have to move on. You have to forget. You have to just move on. Forget about it. But it's not the duty of people who are not there to forget. If the people who suffered want to forgive and forget, it's their prerogative and they can do that at their will. Well, Steve Jobs, has anybody read his autobiography? Yeah, he stopped going to church because he read about the Biafra War. He said, if Christians can do that to people, why should I worship like God? I don't agree with him, but that's his view. He felt so bad about the war. Bernard Kouchner, former French foreign minister, remember him in Kosovo, digging every last bone to understand what happened in Kosovo. But where did he start? He started in Biafra. He was there as a Red Cross volunteer. He resigned from the Red Cross. He said, we can't be impartial in such a situation. He founded Médecins Sans Frontières, MS, because of what Biafra did to him. John Lennon returned his MBE to the Queen because of the Biafra war.
As a protest against violence and war, especially Britain's involvement in Biafra, which most of the British public aren't aware of, because all the press, TV and radios slant all the news from Biafra. All the stuff I learned on Biafra from journalists, off-the-cuff folks, is a different story, and I began to be ashamed of being British. And I'm a patriotic nationalist, if the truth were out, and Yoko can vouch for that. I'm always fighting about what Britain invented radar and what all the different things we've done. But every day I just began to worry a bit more about it, and I was going to send the MBE back anyway. I could have done it privately, but the press would have found out anyway. You would have been here a week later instead, less impact.
Jimi Hendrix was playing in Biafra. He was raising money to feed people like me. I would have died if those flights hadn't come in. 3,170 flights in 3 years that came in with all the food we wanted because there was no way to feed Biafra. And of course, part of the war strategy was to starve and kill everybody. Akanu Ibiam, he had all the awards from here. CB, right up to the night, we returned all of that to the Queen because of...
If you came away from some of the earlier tragedies of the Biafran War and some of the wars in Africa and the AIDS things I photographed, there wasn't enough darkness.
The next piece is also by Alex Baranovsky. It's called Biafra, and this was actually written for a documentary which just came out at the beginning of this year. The documentary is called McCullen, and it's about the very famous war photographer Don McCullen, who traveled around the world over the 30-40 years, taking the most extraordinary photographs, mostly of war-torn areas. And Biafra was a former province near to Nigeria where they had a most horrendous civil war in the 1960s. And there was a particular colony, a children's colony, which had been abandoned, and thousands of children were left there to die. And Don McCullen arrived at this place in Biafra to find all these children there. And the children thought that he had come to save them. But the truth was he was there as a photographer. He'd come to take photos.
You know, I'd walk into a school in Biafra and I would see 800 children dying. And as soon as they saw the white man coming, you could see they thought of the tunnel. And what did I bring them? I brought them two Nikon cameras around my neck. And I saw these chopping down and dying in front of me. And you know, we live in a world now where the media isn't that particularly interested in the real tragedy in our lives.
You feel that?
I'm convinced it is.
And it was something that he just never really got over, never really recovered from. And Alex wrote this particular piece based on that, and it's in the film, which is the most extraordinary documentary. I would urge any of you to go and see it. It's just...
Stand this very evening. We are facing a very formidable array of enemies, both external and within. And we are going to overcome each and every one of these obstacles. That I can assure you. That they may know that the God we worship is an invisible God, not a God that was wrought by the hands of men. For we do not worship idol, and we can never ever worship idol. Is impossible. This very family, this IPOB, belongs to the Most High. And that is how it's going to be until Biafra comes and beyond to eternity. This evening, I want to place it on record that our enemies are intensifying their attack against us from every corner. I am not saying this as lamentation or complaint. I am only trying to prepare our people for what is to come. You are being prepared for what is to come. The time has come to separate the chaff from the wheat itself. Our march is very, very near. The enemies are trembling, they are quaking, they are doing all they can to try to stop us. But they have failed very woefully. And they will continue to fail. But I want to tell you that we are getting attacks from everywhere. From everywhere all over the world. And very soon, they will buy over some of you. Some of you, they will buy some of you over. The spirit of Oba Biasika and Ifajuna are still in some of you. When the time comes, they will buy you over. I am not doing this program tonight to ask all of you to be strong. I am doing it to remind you, not that if they succeed in buying you over, you're not going to stop what we're doing. You can't. Not in you cannot. Not in 1 trillion years. But I need you to appreciate one very simple fact. That at the end of this very race, everybody will testify that indeed Chukwukika Abiyama, the same God of Israel, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the same God of Ehiri in Aguleri, the same God of Umweri, the same God of Ora-Eri, the same God of Owe-Eri, the same God of Arochukwu, not to be nobody, the true God, one true God. You will know that indeed, not only is he omnipotent, that same God is the owner of this very agitation. No human being can stop it. We have enemies, and we need to be very, very careful, both within and without. Very, very careful. The next 2 weeks will be very pivotal. Next 2 weeks will be very, very important in the life, or should I say, in this very mission that we have embarked upon. The devil will do everything. And you are going to watch spectacularly how we are going to destroy and shame the enemy. That at the end, every glory and adoration will belong to God and not to man. Now let us go and tell you what is happening that some of you do not understand. I want those of you who are hardcore, those who were chosen before you were born. There were some people who were chosen before they were born to agitate for Biafra restoration. This is a message for you. Those who from their mother's womb they were born to do this very work. You must be very, very strong. Because Biafra will open the eyes of black people all over the world. Because Biafra will mean that blacks from America, blacks from the Caribbean, from Southern America, they will all flood into Africa. It will be like the time that Yeshua was born. Biafra is like a light, a beacon. They will follow it. They will say, let us go and see what is happening there. That is what these no-colonialists do not want. They don't want Biafra to come. I am telling our people so they understand. The mountains, I didn't say one mountain, the mountains in front of us that we need to overcome. And for us to overcome it, we need to be very strong mentally, mental strength. Just like when you're doing anything in life, and it appears as if you are being buffeted from everywhere. That is the time that you no longer rely on willpower or your muscles. You go to your brain to endure and to persevere and to keep going until you overcome. That is the stage we are in right now. To make sure that our brain is in gear, to confront everything the Janjaweed has to throw at us. We don't have money. Their budget is over $20 billion to fight us. They can bribe Facebook. They can buy them off. They can do anything they like. They can come to some of you and bribe you off. They can promise you what you've never had before. They can give you maybe a house in Dubai. They can promise you a vehicle. They can tell you, oh, we'll make you vice president. They can promise you anything to make sure that you're like them. But this very IPOB, this very hardcore is not going to move. And I will tell you why we can't move.
Maintain this peace in Nigeria, in Sahel region, in West Africa. Considering the status, considering the situation at the moment, what do you think that the United Nations should do to maintain peace in this region? Because that is exactly what they set them up after the World War.
Yes, what they're going to do to maintain peace is to allow people that want to go via their own UN supervised referendum, or referenda, which is the plural of referendum, to allow people to determine where they wish to belong to. We are in a world today where you can no longer shackle people to a dogma that is outdated. We live in a world where you can no longer compel people to do something against their will. That is called slavery. I do not see the reason why some people will still attempt to justify, the clamping down or the demonization of freedom fighters in Africa. One thing you must bear in mind is this. There is a grand conspiracy going on. This is something that Africans must understand. You know the issue of CFA in West Africa, the French franc. These euros, France, but in Africa, the parts of Africa they control, they use French francs. The money that these people use, the currency, the paper currency itself, they mint it in Paris somewhere, and they bring it to Africa. France is a country that I love very much. They supported Biafra, as a matter of fact. I care about them. The problem in Africa, unfortunately, are we Africans. You don't expect these people to come down to solve anything for you. It's for you to solve it yourself. I remember I went to a very influential diplomat's office in Brussels, at the EU. I went to his office. And killing us and everything, and that we are peaceful and everything. The man said, any day you people are serious, we will know. Do you understand the meaning of that? Any day you are serious, we will know. How can somebody come to your backyard, rape your mother, kill your sister? You're going to UN to go and complain to them. UN will say you're stupid. Don't you know what to do? It's only by repelling these demonic forces that the world cannot come in and say what is happening. If there is no war in Nigeria, UN will not talk. If there is no war in Nigeria, CNN will not cover it. If there is no war in Nigeria, there will be no emergency debate at the House of Commons. Never. At a time in your life, you have to say enough is enough. Is defined in law, and the law protects it. It's called jus cogens, which means in Latin, nobody can deviate from this. Nobody can. It is a fundamental right to agitate for your freedom. It's your fundamental right to do what IPOB is doing. No court, nobody can derogate from it. That is international law, which the zoo signed up to. But we are there every day deceiving ourselves. Let's go to court. We caught terrorists in our law. What's their crime? Oh, they belong to IPOB. And you have a journalist, a Yoruba journalist that went to university condoning such evil. We are in Africa. We are conscientious, or people who should be conscientious, condone evil because of one consideration or the other. And I give it to white. Sometimes I say they say I'm promoting white supremacy. No, I'm not. I am just being very factual. That is one thing that white people have that we Africans do not have. When you make a law, you keep that law. That is why that statue of woman you see all the time that is black, people don't know the meaning of it. You go to court, you see a woman with sword. On the left hand is maybe Holy Bible, I don't know, Holy Quran. And you see that they covered her eyes. Go and check every law court. Do you know what it means? That the law is blind. So even you as a judge or magistrate interpreting the law, you don't look at the ethnicity of those who are involved. You just interpret the law the way you see it. The law says that what IPOB is doing is correct. But somebody will go to police station and write and say, oh, they are terrorists. It's treasonable felon. Therefore, what is happening to us is coming from us, not from white people, not from anybody else. After all, the way that Britain is meddling into the zoo today called Nigeria is because we allowed it to happen. They're allowing it because Fulani is benefiting from it. Typical black people. And I must remind you that white people came to Africa. The Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the British, the Germans, the Belgians, they came to Africa. The conquering army, the European conquering army that took over the whole of Africa, we are not Europeans, they were Africans. They come into Africa and they use Africans to conquer Africans. It hasn't left us till today. And these are the things that we are fighting. That is why I keep saying that the best thing that IPOB could do for black people is to change the way they reason. Once you change the way they reason, you will see all the difference in this. Remember when we used to tell our Yoruba friends and brothers that the Fulanis are coming? Nobody believed us. They mocked us, they ridiculed us. They said, even today, if you watch Channels television, mostly Yoruba journalists in Channels television, they are making the exact same mistakes that allowed the Fulani to come this and condemn them. They never interrogated this Janjaweedism, this march of the Fulani. And as you were saying this, Simon, something occurred to me. Do you know that the Attorney General of the Federation of Nigeria is now advocating that the Fulanis must have a ministry for cows, a commission for cows? Are you aware of it? It's in Vanguard newspaper. And you are all in one Nigeria. 21st century, and you're discussing the movement of cows. There is no justification whatsoever. We are in the mess we are in today because we allowed it to happen. Any day we rise up and say enough is enough, the world will take notice. That's what we are doing. You asked about ESN. Why won't ESN come? The first rule in nature is self-defense. It is so common. It is called tort law. T-O-R-T, tort law. You don't need to go to court to justify it. You come to my land, you kill my mother, you rape my sister, you cut them into pieces, and then you go. When I confront you, you tell me you want Ruga. You want Fulani in every state in Nigeria. Who told you that? If you're going to give this preferential treatment to cattle raiders, then why not motor spare parts dealers all over the country? Why don't you give them land and give them loans? People see the truth in the zoo and they keep meandering, they keep hiding from it. After all these years, look at the likes of Modo. After messing up for years, now his eyes have suddenly opened. They now know that what IPOB has been saying is right. That's the thing with our people. No single apology to any idiot, wherever they may be in the world. No apology to any idiot anywhere they are. ESN has come to stay. We are going to die there, all of us. Let them bring that their nonsense to our land and we'll teach them a lesson. They can do that always in Yoruba land. We take their land and bring it, we'll die there immediately. So they can see with their 2 eyes. Hausa may have fallen for them very cheaply and easily. Gwagi or Gwari people may have fallen for them. Nupe may have fallen for them. A gala, some parts of it, but you see the land of Biafra. We will not surrender Biafra, never, ever, ever. There will be no Ruga, no cattle movement of any sort, none whatsoever. They can bring all the families they like, they cannot settle in Biafra land. They can settle elsewhere, but not in our land. Without apologies to any idiot, to any fool. We don't apologize to any idiot. For the, did you see the lady that was cut up in? They raped her and they cut her into pieces. Did you see it? Did you see our mothers being raped in Enugu? It's all over the place. They came to me, but they massacred our people. All we did was to cry, to write on Facebook, to, oh, please sign here. We want to petition the House of Commons. They accuse us at sign here. After signing, what happened? Our cases are there everywhere in the world. If you ask them, they say, no, we don't want Nigeria to break. No, we don't want. But America broke from British Empire. Canada is a free nation. Is that not correct? Under British influence before. Now you're telling me to do the same thing that you did to make God punish the idiot. And God punish the bastard, I'm saying it openly. What you did in America to make America great, what you did in Australia to make Australia great, what the French people did, because I'm a black man, you're telling me I have to give my land to a bunch of reprobates from the Sahel to rear their cattle in my village because I'm a Nigerian. God punish the idiot.
Oyendu, that is why we are backing every of your action and every of your decision. You know, we are going to make sure that we take a decisive measures and action, whether it is going to our community or whether they will still write our story like we are writing their own story. It is something that we have to see. And because of what you just said now, there is, if you permit me, I will play just one video that is very, very important of our brother, you know, that also shed more light on what you just said now, making America great again, or making your people great, and you don't allow us to do our own. You know, that is something that we have to talk about often. You know, you cannot come and tell us not to do anything on our own, but in your own country, you want to do everything. So, and let us play this video for our viewers to see. Very, very important. Very, very important. One moment. Oyendo, are you hearing this video?
I'm loud and clear. Yes, I can hear you very well. I'm here.
Because they don't want me to put it on. I've tried to pull it, so let me play the audio. So
yes,
at least.
go ahead. Sam, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you hearing the audio?
No, I can't hear it.
you must go and listen to Simon Ekpa, who is doing a very fantastic job. Very great job that Simon Ekpa is doing. Very, very, absolutely fantastic job that he's doing. You must listen to him and share his videos accordingly. Very, very important. He is bringing a new dimension to this very awareness that we are making, and you must listen to him. Very, very important. Because what I am saying on Abumanyamini, our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak. I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwa Biama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not, that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwa Biama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwa Biama Biko, since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say boys. I said I need men. Those of them that you created to restore your kingdom, they should come forward now, not tomorrow, not next year. Chukwa Biama. You must bring them now. I did not say tomorrow. Because the insult is too much. It is beyond what any human being can endure. We want to go and get Biafra, or we die in the process, because we are better off dead than witness some of this nonsense going on. The level of insult is beyond what any decent human being can tolerate. They bring their cattle into our land. They desecrate our land. They kill us in the presence of our families, and nobody does anything about it. And when the police attend, the police sit idly by as people are being killed by not a multitude of people. Only 4. Only 4 Awasa people can sack an entire village in Biafra land, and we call ourselves men. No, we are not men until we redeem our honor. Until we look at integrity and say we must have a part of it. Until then, to be honest with you. This is Radio Biafra. Now is the time to come forward. I did not say tomorrow. Now, tonight, is the time to come forward. 100 of us, and then we march. 100 and we march. The rest can come later if they want to. I am tired of broadcasting. I want to fight for my country. I want to carry arms to defend the honor and integrity of my country. I want to avenge the death of 6 million people. I want Biafra to stand as a beacon of hope, freedom, and liberty in black world. I want Biafra to stand as a testament to the glory of heaven upon the face of this very earth. I want Biafra to stand because my obligation to the dead outweigh that which I owe to the living. That is why Biafra will stand, and Biafra will come. 100 men, that's all. And we march. The rest can come later on. I no longer give a damn. The disgrace and the insult is too much. We must go and meet our enemies, even if we have only machete and hoes. It is far more better for us to go and meet them and die with a semblance of dignity than with this very humiliation which we encounter every blessed day. We must assemble as quickly as possible.
Anybody, any chairman of any market that is opened, any market you open, the chairman will hear from us. In Biafra land, any market you open, you will hear from us. We lost 5 million people. And you can, if you don't sit at home, people, no wonder we are suffering. You would have no appreciation of the sacrifice of the dead. You think everything is mercantilism, is buying and selling. You convert every situation into a currency. You always look at the monetary value of every circumstance you find yourself in. That is why we have saboteurs and traitors within. They want to convert their position into money so that Abuja can recognize them and come and give them money. But we'll get all of you one after. And they are so-called political elites. Everybody wants to be politically correct. Everybody wants to be politically correct. Everybody wants to please Fulani because of 2023. Because they control INEC, they control CBN, they control everything. Your political future. In fact, if they can put it, all of you were there claiming this is our nation.
IPOB, one family. Biafrans all over the world. If we want safety and security for our people, then let's continue to support Eastern Security Network. All donations are welcome. No contribution is too small or too large. Do your part, knowing that freedom is in our hands and together we must all rise to the occasion. Go to our website to make your contribution, www.ipobinUSA.org/donate. And remember that freedom is not free, but together we restore it. Farm by farm, forest by forest, house by house, and street by street.
You must go and listen to Simon Ekpa, who is doing a very fantastic job. Very great job that Simon Ekpa is doing. Very, very, absolutely fantastic job that he's doing. You must listen to him and share his videos accordingly. Very, very important. He is bringing a new dimension to this very awareness that we are making, and you must listen to him. Very, very important.
Hi, what causes in a poor man a kuruta? Ebu belly guamo billion. Would you pan to many pilotimo? Holy Sabini guamo billion. Kulio bilio. Chukoki kabiama. Borona nyaga. Kulio bilio. Chukoki kabiama. Borona nyaga. Kulio bilisiano. Chukoki kabiama. Pusierana nyaga. Kulio biliano. Chukoki kabiama. Maximum respect to my own talented leader, Prophet Mazin Nandekano. EU kept quiet, America kept quiet, UN kept quiet, the whole world kept quiet. EU kept quiet, America kept quiet, UN kept quiet, the whole world kept quiet. EU kept quiet, America kept quiet, UN kept quiet, the whole world kept quiet. You kept quiet, America kept quiet. You and you kept quiet, the whole world kept quiet. They came from Sahel, they came from Chad, they came from Niger, Senegal and Mali, claiming our land, killing our people because of our blessings. My God, go to the bushes now, they're everywhere. Kidnapping and killing people every day. Raping and killing our women and men, slaughtering them in their farmland. Hey God, kidnapping and killing Christians night and day, and nobody they talk. Chimo, dividing and ruling we anyhow, as if you are not human being. My God, abducting and killing Biafrans every day, and the whole world they watch, the whole world they see. Julio, Chukwuka Biafra, Julio, It's on security, we are one people. We're going to Calabari, we are one. Calabar and Igbo, we are one. We say, Bigo Domi, we are one. Ishangi Banke, we are one people. Urobo Isoko, we are one. It's on security, we are one people. We're going to Calabari, we are one. Calabar and Igbo, we are one people. They split us, just the killers. They rape our papa, they rape our mama. They rape our wives, they rape our girls. They rape our sisters, raping even our children. Raping their car with the concealer to women with the top and they die. Small. Chukoki Kabiama. Chukoki Kabiama. Chukoki Kabiama. Go to the one nation. Wake up now and fight for your freedom. Wake up, Biafra nation. Wake up now and fight for your freedom. Wake up, go to the one nation. Wake up now and fight for your freedom. Wake up, Biafra nation. Wake up now and fight for your freedom. Wake up, Massimo, Durani Labasian, Mohamadike, Durani Labasian. I want to worship in the golden altar. You said you're going to build in Arajuku. We are all the Biafrans, we gather together to worship in the Elohim. We are all the Biafrans, we gather together to worship in one accord. We are all the Biafrans around the world, we gather together to worship in Elohim. I love to worship in the golden altar. You said you're going to build in Arajuku. Massimo, Durani Labasian, Mohamadike, Durani Labasian, Onyendu, Durani Labasian, Onyendu, Durani Labasian, Massimo, Durani Labasian, Mohamadike, Durani Labasian, Onyendu, Durani Labasian, Durani Labasian, I love Biafra, Ola, Durani Labasian, I love Biafra, Ola, Durani Labasian, I love Biafra, Ola, I love Biafra. Respect you, Mr. Brand, Simon Ekpa, and all the IPOP members around the globe.
You must go and listen to Simon Ekpa, who is doing a very fantastic job. Very great job that Simon Ekpa is doing. Very, absolutely fantastic job that he's doing. You must listen to him and share his videos accordingly. Very, very important. He is bringing a new dimension.
The spirit of Biafra, who need freedom, the canon, get it for melon. I chip on one nanyasi, get it for melon. One chire, one get it for melon. Onyendu nebe anyanachi, get it for melon. Kanyi cheta nakaya diocha, get it for melon. I chip on one nanyasi, get it for melon. One chire, one get it for melon. Onyendu nebe anyanachi, get it for melon. Kanyi cheta nakaya diocha. All the things to do because think of what he told us. Now we should have ability to reason. They started to create division among us. Hey, take our resources and left us fighting. I'm more Biafran than you are. I'm oat member than you are. Biafrans biko chitapa. Abaipa furunevika. I'm more Biafrans than you are. I'm oat member than you are. Biafrans biko chitapa. Abananyipa furunevika. Get it for me. I chibon wananyasi. Get it for me. One chire one onye ndu n'ebe anya na-achị kedu ife o mere ka anyị cheta n'aka ya dị ọcha kedu ife o mere anyị ji kpọọ nwanne anyị asị kedu ife o mere nwanne jiri nwanne ya kedu ife o mere anyị onye ndu n'ebe anya na-achị kedu ife o mere ka anyị chetakwa n'aka ya dị ọcha ọfọ n'ọgụ ka o ji eje arụ na-eme n'obodo ka o ji eti ụtụtụ n'anyasị afụfụ nata akwa maka obi nwanne arịrị egbu ọnụ m Biafra kulie ode chichichi akpọdokwa anyị ka ha ji anyị nọzi chichichi ka anyị kulie n'ụra nọ my people kedu ife o mere anyị ji kpọọ nwanne anyị asị kedu ife o mere nwanne jiri nwanne ya kedu ife o mere onye ndu n'ebe anya na-achị kedu ife o mere ka anyị cheta n'aka ya dị ọcha kedu ife o mere anyị ji kpọọ nwanne anyị asị kedu ife o mere nwanne jiri nwanne ya kedu ife o mere anyị onye ndu n'ebe anya na-achị kedu ife o mere ka anyị chetakwa n'aka ya dị ọcha only ask for freedom of indigenous people they want to kill Chukwu okike biko do they want to kill osemela nugo kedu ife o mere anyị ji kpọọ nwanne anyị asị kedu ife o mere nwanne jiri nwanne ya kedu ife o mere onye ndu n'ebe anya na-achị kedu ife o mere ka anyị cheta n'aka ya dị ọcha kedu ife o mere anyị ji kpọọ nwanne anyị asị kedu ife o mere nwanne jiri nwanne ya kedu ife o mere anyị onye ndu n'ebe anya na-achị kedu ife o mere ka anyị chetakwa n'aka ya dị ọcha Maazị Nnamdi Kanu amụma ga-emezuo anyị Chukwu okike chekwa gị gị na ezinụlọ gị ya
IPOB, one family. Biafrans all over the world. If we want safety and security for our people, then let's continue to support Eastern Security Network. All donations are welcome. No contribution is too small or too large. Do your part, knowing that freedom is in our hands and together we must all rise to the occasion. Go to our website to make your contribution, www.ipobinUSA.org/donate. And remember that freedom is not free, but together we restore it, farm by farm, forest by forest, house by house, and street by street.